The Type K-8 1942 is a Japanese battle rating 1.3 Tier 2 premium that's obtained by unlocking 5 stars in the Operation W.I.N.T.E.R event. It's an earlier modification of the Type K-8 1944, losing its 25mm autocannons and facing significantly lower battle rating enemies. So, how does it perform in War Thunder? First, a bit of history on the class. The number 13 class was built from 1939 to 1944, with 49 of them being finished. They served throughout World War II, with 35 being lost during the war and most of the others being scrapped shortly afterwards. The last one in service was number 49, which was given to the Republic of China and was in service until 1956. In War Thunder, the Type K-8 1942's primary armament is a single 8cm 40 caliber Type 3 cannon. Despite being called an 8cm, it's actually a 76.2mm cannon. The peak fire rate is 20 shells per minute, and the dispersion is pretty average. It only has one shell, which is just a pretty standard high explosive shell. The 8cm cannon is good against small targets, though it can't hull break most ships due to the current sensitivity of hull break, so it'll normally take 2 to 4 shots to destroy a single enemy. The anti-air weaponry consists of a single dual 13.2mm turret. It's pretty good at taking down the relatively slow and weak aircraft at the Type K-8's battle rating, though it can't fire directly forwards, giving it pretty poor anti-air coverage. The 13.2mm gets 3 belt types: Universal, APT, and HEIT. The HEIT ammo is generally the best against aircraft and surface targets, so I would recommend just bringing that ammunition alone. The last weapon the Type K-8 1942 has at its disposal is 7 depth charges and 64 mortar-launched depth charges. They could be useful against very close PT boats, though they're unwieldy to use and are also giant external ammunition racks, so it's not really worth bringing either set of them. In survivability, the Type K-8 has 68 crew and no armor. It's pretty good overall, being able to tank most incoming damage due to its relatively large size and high crew. Notably, autocannons like the 40mm Bofors will quickly chew through its crew, though it's incredibly difficult to kill with rifle caliber machine guns, which many of the ships facing it have. Last is mobility. The Type K-8 has a top speed of 30 km per hour, which is much slower than just about anything it faces. At 1.3 that's pretty significant, keeping it from doing any kind of hit and run tactics or capturing points in a reasonable amount of time. For overall playstyle, the Type K-8 is best at clubbing low tier ships like reserves which struggle to kill it. Against any later coastal ships, it quickly loses its edge due to their powerful autocannons chewing through the crew, and the 8cm cannon struggles to kill larger and tankier coastal ships. Its lack of mobility can make it very hard to play objectives, and limits what it can do in a match. In fighting against surface targets, go bow on to increase the survivability of the ship, though if an aircraft appears, it's worth turning to a broadside angle to get the rear turret onto it. As for whether or not the Type K-8 1942 is really worth it, it's sorta hard to say. It can grind up to the 2.3 Japanese coastal lineup, which is pretty great, though the rest of the Japanese coastal tree isn't very good as it tends to get stomped by superior destroyers. As far as the ship itself goes, it's alright, though it's not particularly strong or unique. If you're grinding the event for the USS Baltimore, it's an alright reward halfway through, but if you're just grinding 5 of the event stars out, it's probably better to go for something like the EBR instead. For modifications, the Type K-8 comes with everything unlocked, along with a talisman. For crew skills, go for leadership, main caliber reload speed, crew interchangeability, fire prevention, and ship control. Thank you for watching. I'll have a USS Baltimore review out as soon as I can manage it, so be sure to stay tuned for that.